Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're going to talk about the season finale of Loki, Season 1. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent Casina. And we're talking about Loki's season finale, Season 1. But before we get into the review, let me ask you to please do one thing. Please help me by subscribing. Helps the channel grow, lets you know when I drop new videos, all that good stuff. So, Loki. Brent, where have you been? Your reviews are often good. On Loki, they've been terrible and short. I need to know what you think about Loki. Well, here we are at the end of our journey with Loki Season 1. Short story is I was on vacation 2 weeks ago, so I didn't get a review up. I should have asked my buddy Jim, who frequently does reviews here of the DC animated films on the channel. I should have asked him to do one. I didn't. I didn't think he was up to date. He was. He could have done it. Last week, the penultimate episode, I got back. You know, I'm going back to work 2 days a week now. I got back to work on Wednesday. I watched it, and I was like, I mean, it was cool, but it was very, I don't know. The ending is the most intriguing thing about that episode 5. So we're back here with episode 6 to talk about the finale in the series, season 1 as a whole. And we really are here not to talk about the show, Loki, necessarily, but who got introduced in this last show. In this last episode. And that, my friends, is none other than Kang the Conqueror. That's this guy here in the green, purple with the blue face. He's on the opposite page here. He is a time-traveling villain and has gone by some other names. Sometimes he's known as Ramatut, although I think that's been retconned. At one point in time, I think the Marvel Universe thought Kang went back in time and was an Egyptian pharaoh named Ramatut. I think that's been retconned, like I said. He's also known as Immortus, which is a future version of Kang, who I think is who we saw in this episode, even though in the credits he said the one who remains. That's what they called his character. But the actor we saw here at the end of time, the actor's name is Jonathan Majors, and if you haven't watched Lovecraft Country, now you have a reason to go watch it. Lovecraft Country is a phenomenal show. I watched it last summer. It was freaking phenomenal. Go watch Lovecraft Country. I didn't really think we were going to get Kang in this episode. I had seen all the theories and stuff, and after everybody got burned on WandaVision by thinking Mephisto was going to show up, I was like, they already announced Kang was going to be introduced in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, so he'll probably show up there. This is going to be something else. It's going to be another variant of Loki or something else that's just going to be a letdown in the way that we were all dreaming of Mephisto in WandaVision and didn't get that. Well, surprise, surprise, Loki actually delivered on what fans wanted, and even delivered more, because they didn't give us Kang. They never said his name or anything like that. I really think they gave us Immortus, which is a future version of Kang, who's not about conquering or also kind of about conquering. It's a whole thing with Kang. Not my favorite Marvel villain. Haven't read much about Kang other than this first. This is from Young Avengers, by the way. The first story that was introducing them by Alan Heinberg and Jim Chung. I've got a review of this up on the channel. You can go check it out there. But man, this is a really, really cool episode, only for Jonathan Majors, and that's my point here. So Loki as a whole, series, I felt was kind of lackluster, kind of boring, and honestly, especially after this episode, I was watching this episode and I was like, this is really kind of masturbatory, in that it's all about one character, and it's even masturbatory. It's almost like a pun, because you have Loki and Sylvie, who are both Lokis, making out with each other in this episode with this kiss, and it's like, nobody really asked for this. it was just kind of this weird thing. In the same way that whenever you were watching Game of Thrones and you saw Cersei and Jaime Lannister kiss or make out or have sex or whatever, you're like, I didn't really want to see that. Like, this is weird. That's incest. Like, kissing yourself or an alternate version of yourself. I was like, this is just masturbation right here. This is just self-love, And not to say that there's wrong with that. People do it all the time. It's to say that I don't want to watch that. I'd rather watch something with a story. Now, if this was all about introducing Kang the Conqueror to the Marvel Universe as the next big villain, as the next Thanos or whatever he is going to end up being, I think they could have done a better job making this series more about Kang, maybe. Maybe we could have been hunting a Kang variant the whole time, or seeing more of his character or whatever. I don't know. Just to me, like, even though they delivered in the finale, doesn't necessarily, and this was a great episode, this was the best episode of Loki season 1, just because they delivered in the finale doesn't mean I think the entire series is good. When people are going to ask me, and, you can be watching this too and say, I haven't heard anything about the show, is it really worth watching? I will tell people, no, it's really not. Unless you're a big Tom Hiddleston fan, it's really not worth watching. Maybe it's worth watching the 5th and 6th episodes together. Like, maybe you watch half of it, right? Watch 1, watch 5, watch 6. Because this is the pivotal episode. This is the crucial episode of the Marvel Universe going forward. And this is now, like, this episode, unfortunately, for everyone else, and your mileage may vary. There are some people that really like this show and think it's the best ever. But, unfortunately, this episode makes Loki, like, essential viewing for the Marvel Universe going forward, I think, in Phase 4. And I say unfortunately because the series doesn't deserve to become appointment viewing for Phase 4, in my opinion. It's very slow, very lackluster, very dark. Like, a lot of the lighting stuff, like, I have a light up here that's on, I have the lamp in the back that's on, and there had neon and stuff like that, and their TVA shit, and it's like, man, can you turn the lights on? It looks kind of dark. Like, everybody's standing under bright lights and stuff, and yet they color grade the thing to make it look like they're all shaded and shit like that. And I hate that in TV shows. Just turn the fucking lights on. Leave the lights on. Don't grade it so low to make it dark and moody and atmospheric. Like, change the lighting if that's what you want. I can't stand some of that sometimes. But all in all, I think it was, first episode was interesting, the second episode, the third, and then, so it's kind of like, yeah, definitely the first episode, the 5th episode, the 6th episode. Half this series is worth watching, and only the 6th episode, in my opinion, is appointment television that was like, not to be missed if you're a Marvel Universe fan. Every other episode that I said you should watch there, 1, 5, and 6, even 5, I think is still there, but it still doesn't really add anything other than to point out that we're at the end of time in the void, and you're getting past this thing to get to this guy, and it sets up who, he who remains, as they call him here, Kang, Immortus, whatever you want to call him, in this episode. That's really the only reason why you need to watch 5. Yeah, the other Lokis were fun, but were they necessary? Not really. And having seen all 6 episodes now, and go back and watch the trailer, and you will realize that they didn't show you anything about the TVA, of consequence or anything like that, because the most fun moments that they had to show, that even weren't from this 6th episode, they're all from 5 and before then, all the elements they had to show did not take place in the TVA, did not take place with, Owen Wilson or Gugu Mbathu-Raw, all that other stuff. They showed you the variants of Loki. They showed you Loki with the horns, with the crown, flipping the knives, which was the bad Loki from last episode, who only showed up really quickly. It was more about like that, and the DB Cooper thing from episode 1, and it was all about that rather than like what actually happened in the show. And like, if that's all you had to show for trailers, and you really weren't showing what the show is, like, that's misleading advertising. And I feel like they were like, well, we don't really have that much to show here. Like, think about the Falcon Winter Soldier trailers and stuff. A lot of that stuff from the first couple of episodes, and like bits and pieces here and there. It wasn't just like, oh, we're really gonna take the best moments. No, the best moments of Falcon and Winter Soldier were not shown in the trailers, and the most visually interesting moments of Loki were shown in the trailers, except for this last episode, because that was a complete and total secret, which I do appreciate them keeping. But again, I don't think it makes the show great, just having one fantastic episode. I think it makes the show okay. It doesn't make the entire season great. So that's my thoughts here on episode 6 of Loki. I think it's appointment viewing. You gotta watch to set up Kang, to set up the multiverse. If Spider-Man goes here, I think this is where we get it. Obviously, this sets up the Multiverse of Madness, which is the title of Doctor Strange 2. And Ant-Man and the Wasp. The next movie is called Quantumania, and we got told last year that Kang the Conqueror is coming in that movie. So, and I thought that that was it's still kind of a weird thing to introduce Kang in the Ant-Man third film. But maybe they're just trying to get more people to go watch Ant-Man on the first weekend, and by telling everybody, hey, Kang's gonna show up here, and everybody's like, okay, Kang, all right. But then by setting all this up poorly, but by having this reveal at the end of Loki and the timelines going nuts, makes everybody go, oh, I really do need to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp as soon as it comes out, because that's gonna be the next Thanos, when he could definitely kind of be the next Thanos. Maybe he's not the next Thanos. Who knows? But it's, I don't know. We'll see if it's a bait and switch or not. I'm interested to see. I like Jonathan Majors here. I thought his performance was phenomenal. Very interesting, very out of his mind, very crazy. I don't know why Loki was so fearful, though, at the end. Like, there wasn't, there was elements here in this performance that made me go like, oh, yeah, that character's definitely out of his mind. Because he's been there for so long. I mean, alone. Wouldn't you go out of your mind too? But to be so afraid, I don't know. But it's interesting that we're actually going to get a season 2 of Loki. I think maybe that's the best thing to come out. Is hey, maybe there's going to be a season 2. Maybe it'll have more to do with the TVA. We don't know. We don't even know when. And maybe we're going to have more of Kang or Immortus, whoever we're going to call him there. So that maybe they can improve now that we know who the real villain is and what the charge of the show is going to be, pruning these timelines and stuff like that. Maybe we will have a better season 2 in my mind. I know people really like this, but I like Tom Hiddleston, but I'm not a Tom Hiddleston stan. I thought he was one of the best things in Kong Skull Island. I wish he would do more other stuff than just Loki. He's not getting those roles, those opportunities. Hopefully he gets some out of this. I thought he was really good in the show, but I just didn't enjoy watching every episode of the show, which is how I grade the shows. Like, if I enjoy watching every episode, or most of the episodes, I'm going to give it a good or a great rating. This one really did not enjoy watching every episode until, really enjoyed this last episode. Anyone before then was like, meh, or definitely not. So, there you go. Loki Season 1, my review. Let me know what you guys think down below. Leave all the, negative comments down below. I'll read them and argue with them. And we will see you guys next time here in the Funny Pages. Thanks for watching.